Hello there, Sir from 17 once again, introducing you to my Rage Nightmare difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 2, medical supplies, and we get it once again off our trusty friend John Goodman. So this guy's gonna talk quite a lot, and it's a theme in this game you're gonna discover that a lot of the times the characters will talk at length, and for whatever reason, I don't know if it's because they didn't want to get, good writers in or more interesting dialogue, but it never seems to go anywhere. It's always, pretty self-perpetuating. It just kind of gets you to the next mission and very little else. And it's kind of strange. And the reason I was stood there right then is because I do believe I was doing something on my laptop. So I do apologise if there's a couple of sections of this guide where I will pause for a couple seconds. It's just because at the time I was multitasking. And it's not the coolest thing I've ever done. I should have probably paid more attention, but this game is exceptionally easy. I only used my defibrillator about 3 times. There's one area of the game where, and when I did use it, I was reloading the save. There's one area where I don't reload the save. I just mix up the edit, and you're going to see it say defibrillator coming back online, recharge. Because what happened is I reloaded the game, and for some reason it had. I don't even understand what had happened, but I reloaded from before where I died, and even when I didn't die, it said defibrillator, recharging. So it's a little bit weird that I'm not too sure how that occurred, but it did. And I'm not going to make any excuses for it. I did use a defibrillator there, and I said I was going to try not to. It's just how the game played out. I reloaded, and it still seemed to come back through. So no idea. But I've just literally, as of a few seconds back, beaten the game, finished my recording, and it all went smooth. I did it in about 6 hours, if anybody's wondering what the length is when you've played it before, or when you don't do a lot of the side quests. It's about 6 hours, so it's very short, but my first playthrough took about 12, and that was with me indulging and everything. And speaking of side quests, here with Lusum Hagar, who I assume is the daughter of Dan Hagar, who's looking extremely scantily clad for a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I mean, she pretty much screams, gonna get raped in this kind of environment, but I'm not going to tell her how to dress because it's not my place. But this is the wing stick introduction, and all you have to do is throw your wing stick into these signs, and as long as you hit the allocated amount, you will get this weapon and a free supply of them. I think you get 5 or 10, and it's not difficult. It's not even good practice, because at the end of the day it's very simple. Where your cursor is, if you throw it, you will throw a boomerang that can decapitate people. It's a fantastic tool, and this is how you get it, so make sure you pick it up because it's super useful. And it's also one of the strangest parts about Rage, where they introduce very light upgrade and crafting mechanics, and it's something that never really gets embellished on. For instance, I don't know if you do all the side quests if you can get even more things. I assume you can, because there's no point in introducing something and not fleshing it out. But for instance, oh yeah, there I go again, check that out. Pure class and skill. I don't know how I do it. I'm clearly the finest driver this game's ever seen. But for some reason you only seem to get advanced versions of the stuff you can craft, and you get them very late. I ended up getting it on my first playthrough just when I went to the second part of the game, which is the subway town area, which is the second wasteland. But on my recording run, because I was doing everything so quickly, I didn't get it until the very last mission, where you have to go and take down the Optimus Prime, or whatever that last place is called. It's called something ridiculous, and it's a prison, and they throw a hell of a lot of enemies at you, and there's a new enemy there that's a pain in the ass, but I'll talk about that when we get there. But what we're doing here is we're getting medical supplies, and to do that we need to come over to this outpost and talk to Richter Outrigger, whatever the hell he's called. So once you do the dialogue with this guy, he's going to move out of the way once he gives you a mission, and then you can walk around him and talk to the lady with the crazy glasses, and she'll also give you a mission. And both these missions coincide, and this dude just doesn't shut up and will not move, so you can't get past him until he does that. As soon as he does that, you can carry on. And when you get round here, this is the lady. She's got a crazy funky arm, and she's going to ask you to look for a missing person called Juno. And Juno, unfortunately, is dead, spoiler alert, and he is bang where we need to be. So this side quest facilitates itself off the back of the other one, and all we're going to be doing is using the pistol to take out a bunch of just standard bandits. I do believe we will be getting a shotgun pretty soon. You can buy an assault rifle, but I don't buy it for a hell of a long time because, if I'm completely honest, it's an inaccurate piece of shit and it's only good for suppressive fire, and I really don't enjoy using it, but I do pick it up and I do put it to some good use later on. But once again, this guy wants to talk at us with his stupid voice, and he stands in our way, so we can't get past him, we can't even melee him, we can't even shoot him, which kind of sucks, but it's the story of Rage once again, another guy indulging us with his ridiculous monotone voice and nothing of interest to say, except for radio tower repair, which is the mission we will be doing, and we will successfully beat both this and the one that the lady just gave us. And it's kind of weird, these missions that you do for this outpost area, because once you do them and you go out of the area, you're gonna see these dudes messing with your shit, basically, and you get a free upgrade for your car. And I don't even know if it makes a difference in its performance, but it really confused me the first time it happened. But I was grateful. Anyhow, this is where we're going to be going. The waypoint on this game can be quite useful at times. It's a pain in the ass, but for the most, it's pretty decent. It'll get you where you need to be. And you just keep moving through here and doing your Rage thing.
All's quiet over here.
So this is as good as any place to talk about my feelings about Rage. And the first thing I'm going to say before I do some talking is, this is a good game. This is a polished, this is a, you know, it looks great, it plays good, it's got some cool ideas, but this is not the game I thought it was going to be. With all the publicity that it got, with all the, you know, the scope and the time in development, I thought this was going to be, you know, one of the best first-person shooters I've played this year. The first thing I will say is, this is not one of the best first-person shooters I've played this year. It is far from it, because it suffers from a lot of things that I don't enjoy in games, and it's the checkpoint thing I can't get away from. The fact that they don't have a checkpoint system, it irritates me to no end, because it's almost putting you in the developer's shoes of building your own difficulty and doing their fucking job. Right there, I got far too close to a dude. That's what happens when you're on this screen. One more hit and you are down, so be very careful. But as you can see, the wind sticks are a powerful tool to be used correctly, and yeah, just make sure you do that. But like, this game visually is one of the best looking games I've ever seen. It's got some of the highest resolution and highest detailed textures I've seen in any game I've ever played, and I'm not a PC gamer, so I've never, you know, had a massive top-tier PC pushing out the best visuals, and they'll probably look much better than this, and this on PC could look astounding. The only problem with it is, you pay a price for that beauty, because the texture popping and just a lot of parts of the visuals where shit just doesn't load right, and it can turn it into an increasingly ugly game, and it's a frustrating part of playing it, is that this game looks so fantastic, but at times it doesn't even fucking try to load how fantastic it looks. And I know that's a restriction on the id engine that they're using, and it's probably something that will get smoothed over, but it's annoying. And if it bugged you in Gears of War when you played on the Epic engine, then it's going to fuck you off to high heaven on this, because it could have something to do with the fact mine's an old Xbox, so its hard drive doesn't run nowhere near as fast as the most recent ones do, but it's very noticeable at times, especially if you turn around quickly. Sometimes the textures are just not there, and it kills it. It really takes you out of the game. The open worldness that a lot of people are pissed off about, the fact that it's basically a hub that leads to, you know, linear sequential missions, doesn't bother me at all. I kind of like that, because I'm not the biggest sandbox guy. That doesn't bother me. The thing that bothers me is the guns all feel underpowered compared to the enemies. The enemies seem to take far too much damage, and I know that they've got a lovely animation on every single hit that your guns do that make them feel like you've got some punch, but then when you shoot them 10 more times and they don't fall down, it fucks me off. It really irritates me. That's not my idea of a satisfying shooter. And they've sprinkled in all sorts of different areas to spice it up with an upgrade system that seems very vague. And the only problem with it is, it's not a visual upgrade system, so the guns don't modify over time. It's just a passive ability that they gain that you can't even notice. And coming off Resistance 3, it is noticeable. But I have to say, my main gripe with the game, aside from the checkpoints, is just the story, man. I tried to invest myself in it. I tried to to push past, you know, the bleakness that is the characters and how the dialogue never really goes anywhere and never really, you know, justifies anything what you're doing. It's just a case of, yeah, the resistance is fighting back against the authority, go do this. And I don't mind a game that has a completely shallow premise, a completely crap storyline, completely flawed characters, as long as it engages me as I play through it, and this did not have that. Especially seeing as how a lot of this is based around quests and talking to people, it seems like there would have been a more of a, you know, a premise for that to be a great thing. For instance, Doom, the storyline in Doom was fucking text before you pressed A and you started shooting people in the face. This is not Doom. This is a hell of a lot more talking, a hell of a lot more exposition, and you're still going around shooting people in the face. And it's just, I found it extremely dull. And I know that's not the greatest of criticisms against the game, but I expected to be engrossed a little bit better, especially when those cutscenes at the start look like they're going to build this really cool mythology that's, you know, pretty much ripped off out of Fallout and every other fucking post-apocalyptic game, but at the same time, it could have gone a different direction, like going to the dead cities and finding out that scientists were experimenting on the mutants to try and do something, and you never really explain what they were doing or what they were trying to achieve, and then on the last level they throw something at you that's its equivalent of an answer, and it's not an answer. It's just like, come on, seriously? It's such a shame because it could have been so much more, but now that you've done that, the medical supply mission is over. I will see you in the next one, guys. Thanks for watching, and you take care now.